information came direct from Meghan's ex-husband, Trevor Engelson, via an intermediary. And obviously Trevor Engelson is a very successful TV producer. He now has his own family. He's very happy.
I've met a couple times her ex-husband. I'm sure
Meghan's?
Yes, I met him like personally. a while.
Somebody set you up.
We met in the lobby of the Soho House in Chicago and just sort of like flirted and then started talking and then met once in LA. Very briefly, we talked about doing a project. He said his ex was a woman from a show called Suits. I didn't know what the show was. I didn't know the woman. Months later, I see pictures in Us Weekly of Harry's dating someone, and I text him to be like, is this your ex? And he's like, yup. And I'm like, I go, you think she's gonna close? And he's like, oh, she'll close. And I don't want to get into more about that, but he was like, she'll close. So
he's moved on. He has put Meghan behind him. He probably is not interested in people bringing up his past relationship. He has 3 children now with his new.
So Meghan and Harry don't want the association with the flashy cashy, with the overtly American, and also they're supposed to appear understated, Montecito, muted tones, and this is a different look. Anyone's allowed to take any picture down that they want, and I mean, I can't imagine going to that event and not thinking that somehow your picture would end up somewhere, but they couldn't resist the temptation of going, but also wanted to resist the temptation of showing, and they didn't do anything wrong. It's just been hard to be them because they have been riding between 2 worlds for a long time, and they just have to land, accept where they land. Don't bite the hand that's now feeding them and lean all the way in. They should be in the first slider pick with Jeff Bezos and the Kardashians. You got to dance with the one who brung you and not the ones who aren't even inviting you to their dance anymore.
And listen, I want to say this to you in the best way, because I wonder if you could rewrite your public narrative from scratch. Is there anything that you would do differently? Yes, I would ask people to tell the truth.
Meghan Markle, meet the truth. Truth, meet Meghan Markle. I don't think you know each other. In fact, I fear that you're complete strangers. Yep, the devious Duchess is at it again, playing the victim card, lashing out at all those horrible lies that all those nasty people tell about her. By that, she means anything that anyone says about her that she doesn't like.
I mean, how could she tell this stuff and get away with it?
She married for money. It's very clear she bagged the elephant. She was thrilled. She became a, quote, princess.
Well, you can...
It was planned from the beginning. She denied being interested in the royal family, which she totally was. I know someone who knows the ex-husband who said she had a vision board with Prince Harry on it.
Before they met?
Yes. And she wants to
That's
pretend.
impressive. You got to admit that is...
You know, some moments in celebrity history feel like aftershocks. Quiet but devastating, Meghan Markle thought she'd seen and survived it all, that no one from her past could ever shake the carefully polished image she's built. But oh honey, she didn't see this coming, because out of nowhere, a voice from the shadows, her first husband Trevor Engelson, has stepped back into the spotlight. And this man, who knew her before the tiaras, before the Netflix deals, before the royal chaos, just dropped a truth bomb that's shaking everything Meghan's worked to protect. See, Meghan's been trying for years to keep that first marriage buried deep, like an old diary she doesn't want anyone rereading. She's built a new identity, layer by layer, pretending the past never existed. But the past, oh, it always finds a way back.
Trevor said to Bethany Frankel about how Meghan was going to snare Harry when they first met. Absolutely fascinating stuff.
It is pretty extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, I think she's just got so used to lying that maybe, in my opinion, she believes the lies she tells. I don't know, but either way, she's just been so consistently.
Trevor was supposed to stay silent. He was the man behind the curtain, the chapter that ended quietly. Yet somehow, his name surfaced again, and not from a royal reporter or a bitter ex, but from Bethany Frankel. Yes, that Bethany, the reality star who knows exactly how to make headlines without even trying. She was simply telling a story, casual, breezy, about running into Trevor. But in that little chat, one single line came out that detonated across the internet.
Reason why is because she had a personal relationship, maybe even slightly romantic relationship, with Meghan Markle.
Bethany asked Trevor whether he thought Meghan would ever get close to Prince Harry. And Trevor, calm as ever, just smirked and said, "Oh, she'll close." That's it. 3 little words, but they carried the weight of a hurricane. Because everyone who's watched Meghan climb from Hollywood to royalty knew exactly what that meant. He wasn't talking about love. He was talking about strategy. Trevor had seen her way of moving. Careful, charming, relentless. He knew how she plans, how she positions herself, how she turns every situation into an opportunity. She'll close! Those words sliced through years of speculation, making it sound like Meghan's romance wasn't fate. It was a mission. And for the first time, people stopped seeing her story as gossip and started seeing it as a pattern Trevor had lived through. And you know what made it even juicier? The timing. Because this revelation didn't land in a quiet week. Oh no, it dropped right after Meghan's awkward appearance at Kris Jenner's birthday bash, a night she believed would be her Hollywood rebirth. But instead of glowing, she looked tense, overshadowed, and completely out of her element. Those leaked pictures, her forced smile, Harry's uneasy stance, spread fast. And then, suddenly, poof, they vanished, gone, deleted as if they never existed. Now, anyone who's been around Hollywood long enough knows what it means when pictures disappear that quickly. It's not by accident. It's damage control. So imagine Meghan already panicking over how stiff she looked at that party. Then boom, Trevor's comment resurfaces, dropped by a woman she barely knows. 2 blows in 1 week, one from her glamorous present and one from her buried past. And both expose the same uncomfortable truth. Nothing about Meghan just happens. It's all crafted, built, calculated. Because let's be real, older Americans, seasoned watchers of fame, they've seen this kind of person before. The reinvention experts, the ones who shed skins, burn bridges, and always seem to have a master plan hidden behind every smile. Trevor's words didn't expose a scandal. They exposed a pattern Meghan has tried to hide behind charity speeches, polished photos, and endless talk of authenticity. But that facade cracked, and people saw something else, a cold, calculated ambition. Bethany wasn't angry when she told her story. She wasn't even dramatic. She just dropped it, like gossip over coffee. That made it worse, because if Bethany could see through Meghan so easily, who else had? Hollywood? Old friends? Maybe even Harry himself? And when commentators began calling Meghan a narcissist who thrives on victimhood, the tide shifted fast. They mocked her endless complaints, the poor me routine about palaces too small and titles too restrictive, while she continued to stamp Her Royal Highness on everything she touched. Suddenly, Meghan's tightly controlled image started slipping through her fingers. Trevor hadn't just opened a door, he'd kicked it off its hinges. The real disaster wasn't a few ugly pictures, it was the loss of her story. Meghan's greatest weapon has always been controlling the narrative. Who she is, what she stands for, how she's perceived. But once Trevor's words hit the internet, people started writing her story for her. And trust me, she didn't like the new version. The Kris Jenner party had been meant to restore her glittering image. The room was packed with billionaires, megastars, and power players. Her dream crowd. Yet from the second she walked in, whispers began. One guest said Meghan looked stiff, as if she were performing. Cameras flashed, but the sparkle wasn't there. The photos that hit the internet didn't scream glamour. They screamed discomfort. And Hollywood? It's honest like that. If you belong, you shine naturally. But Meghan looked like a guest, not a star. And in that world, being just there is death. Then, like a bad omen, the pictures disappeared, as though someone was trying to erase the night entirely. The online world erupted. Why delete them? What was she hiding? Everyone knows, confident people don't erase evidence, they own it. Secure stars don't panic over angles. They laugh them off. But Meghan's reaction? Pure panic. She wanted those images gone because they exposed something she couldn't control, her humanity. And right as she scrambled to bury those pictures, Bethany's podcast clip went viral. Trevor's line, "She'll close," spread like wildfire. And suddenly, every deleted photo looked like another piece of a pattern. People started realizing Meghan's obsession with control wasn't about privacy, it was about power. The erased wedding pictures from her first marriage, the missing college friends, the old interviews that don't match her current persona, everything connected. She wasn't reinventing herself, she was rewriting her history. Commentators piled on, calling her a ruthless social climber, obsessed with fame and desperate to maintain it. And as the days passed, even Meghan's old high-profile friends, Clooney's, Obama's, Beckham's, seemed to fade into silence. Hollywood, once charmed by her sparkle, was turning cold. Then came the most painful blow. Even the Kardashians seemed to be distancing themselves. The very people Meghan had wanted to mingle with were moving on. Too many circles burned, too many bridges gone. There's always a pattern, and now everyone was seeing it. But this meltdown didn't just humiliate Meghan in Beverly Hills. It echoed all the way across the Atlantic, behind palace walls where whispers travel fast. The royal family wasn't laughing at her latest fiasco. They were analyzing it. Because when the palace stays quiet, quiet, it's never accidental. Silence means they're calculating. They've tolerated Harry and Meghan's chaos for years, hoping the couple would settle down. But this, the Kris Jenner embarrassment, Trevor's comment, the erasing, the manipulation, it reignited one dangerous question. How much longer can the monarchy afford this circus? Inside those walls, William isn't just the brother anymore, he's the future king. And he's seen what unchecked scandal does. He lived through Diana's heartbreak, Andrew's disgrace, and now he's watching his own brother spiral under Meghan's influence. He knows one simple truth. If he wants to protect the crown, he might have to make a brutal choice. Meanwhile, Harry, once the family's carefree soul, now looks worn down, trapped between two worlds. Meghan's drama, her strategies, her missteps, they're all reflecting on him. And deep down, even he must be wondering whether Trevor was right all along. While Hollywood gossiped about her awkward night, the palace across the ocean went silent, and that silence was deafening. You could almost feel the tension in the air. Meghan's meltdown wasn't just another celebrity embarrassment. It was seen as another crack in the royal facade, another signal that Harry and Meghan's chaos was far from over. Inside those palace walls, people whispered in corridors, advisors exchanged careful glances, and William, calm, focused, and every bit the future king, was reportedly done playing nice. He had seen what endless drama did to the crown during his mother's years. He knew one reckless couple could destroy decades of carefully built stability. So, when Meghan's deleted photos and Trevor's cold truth exploded online, William didn't see it as gossip. He saw it as confirmation. The family, already weary of the Sussex show, started discussing something unthinkable, removing Meghan and Harry's royal titles once and for all. Because those titles, those two words, Duke and Duchess, gave Meghan and Harry global influence without royal responsibility. They could criticize the monarchy while still trading on its prestige. And for the crown, that was a ticking time bomb. Behind closed doors, aides began quietly preparing for what insiders called a long-term containment strategy. The family couldn't afford another decade of scandals and lawsuits. Meghan's influence over Harry, the endless Netflix drama, the interviews, the endless victim stories, it all had to stop. Meanwhile, Harry's behavior had become increasingly erratic. Once confident, he now appeared lost, constantly defensive, always ready to attack critics who never existed. The boy who once laughed with soldiers, who radiated warmth, now looked hollow-eyed and unsure. Insiders said it wasn't anger that defined him, it was exhaustion. The truth, Meghan wants the prestige of a royal and the freedom of a Hollywood star, but that combination just doesn't exist. As Bethany Frankel later said, it's impossible to preach simplicity and privacy while chasing Kardashian-level fame. It's impossible to condemn the spotlight while constantly running back into it. It's impossible to call yourself misunderstood when everyone around you keeps quietly walking away. And that's exactly what's happening. The Clooneys? Gone. The Beckhams? Distant. Even Oprah, who once stood shoulder to shoulder with Meghan, has gone silent. Meghan's empire, built on charm and curated compassion, is slowly collapsing under the weight of its own contradictions. Across the pond, the palace saw all of this unfolding in real time. The Queen's passing had already strained the royal brand. Charles, as king, can't afford another public soap opera. And William, ever pragmatic, has no patience left for Sussex drama. Behind closed doors, insiders say William's tone has hardened. He's not bitter anymore. He's strategic. He's preparing for a reign free of chaos, even if that means cutting off his own brother permanently. As one royal commentator bluntly put it, William will do what his grandmother did best, protect the crown, even if it breaks his heart. Meanwhile, Harry seems trapped between two collapsing worlds, a royal family that no longer trusts him and a Hollywood dream that no longer wants him. Friends say he's noticing things, small things. Meghan's shifting moods, the way her smiles fade faster now, the subtle changes in tone when her name trends online, the lack of warmth from people who once adored her. And late at night, when the mansion in Montecito gets quiet, Harry reportedly sits alone, scrolling through headlines, realizing that maybe, just maybe, Trevor was right. He gave up his family, his country, and his legacy for someone who may have been playing a game he never fully understood. Hollywood producers are already whispering that Meghan's brand is too risky. Her image, once glossy and modern, now screams controversy. The same industry that once adored her now sees her as unpredictable, someone who could burn bridges faster than she builds them. And Meghan feels it. You can see it in her face, the way she over-smiles in public, the way her gestures are just a touch too rehearsed. She's fighting to stay relevant, but relevance built on manipulation has an expiration date. Now, with Trevor's comment immortalized online and Hollywood gossip channels dissecting her every move, Meghan's carefully curated empire of authenticity looks like smoke and mirrors. Even palace insiders quietly call this moment the beginning of the end, because the monarchy isn't going to issue warnings anymore. They're preparing to act, to quietly quietly strip titles, distance the institution, and let the Sussexes fend for themselves. And Meghan knows it. The walls are closing in. The fame she once chased now feels heavy. The husband she once controlled is slipping into doubt. The world she once dazzled is turning away. Trevor didn't just open a wound, he reopened the entire truth about Meghan Markle's rise. The ambition, the calculation, the charm that hides the control. He gave everyone the missing piece. And now, no matter how many photos disappear or how many PR statements she crafts, that line, "Oh, she'll close," will haunt her forever. Because Trevor predicted the beginning. But now, the world is predicting the ending.